Welcome back, focused learners. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer because, well, we're tackling a massive, incredibly common pitfall in the modern business world. Right now, literally every company on the planet is rushing headfirst to implement artificial intelligence. But here's the stark reality. Throwing AI at a broken, inefficient system, yeah, that's a guaranteed recipe for disaster. So today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to integrate operational excellence with AI to build systems that actually, work. Let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the AI automation trap, move into diagnosing before you automate, then designing the new workflow, followed by the 4 layers of AI, and we'll wrap up with your blueprint for scaling. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the AI automation trap, when silos and AI collide. So you might be wondering, why do so many AI projects fail right out of the gate? Let's look at Proxima Tech. They're a mid-sized company building custom data management platforms. And folks across all different departments were just experimenting with AI, using trial and error prompting to try and draft emails, summarize documents, maybe review legal language, but it fell entirely flat. No way around it. Why? Because there were absolutely no shared standards, no templates, no system-wide vision. They were operating in these isolated little bubbles, which, as you'd expect, frequently led to questionable, completely inconsistent outcomes that just couldn't be trusted. And that brings us to the absolute golden rule of this entire explainer: efficiency before automation. You literally cannot automate a mess and expect a masterpiece, right? It just doesn't work that way. At Proxima Tech, the president and CIO recognized this immediately. He knew their systems were plagued by inefficiencies, so he brought in Alice Stoddard, a seasoned process excellence professional, to mandate a complete top-to-bottom diagnostic of their workflow before buying into any more of the AI hype. To put this into perspective, here is the exact scale of the crisis Alice walked into. Proxima Tech had grown fast, really fast, from 200 to 650 employees in just 5 years. Originally, their contracting process handled maybe fewer than 10 contracts a month, a totally manageable number. Then, suddenly, boom, they were getting hit with nearly 70 contracts a month, and we're talking massive enterprise renewals here. The system completely buckled. Delays skyrocketed, and the CFO was practically having palpitations, terrified that these agonizingly slow renewals were going to trigger some major customer defections. The day-to-day operations were, quite frankly, pure chaos. Alice discovered that the process was scattered across sales, legal, finance, and customer service. But here's the kicker: no single person could actually describe the end-to-end workflow. We're talking missing intake documents, work continuously and unexpectedly looping backward, and handoffs that varied wildly depending on the deal. And the absolute worst part? When a delay inevitably happened, these siloed teams just pointed fingers at each other. They were stuck treating the symptoms, totally blind to the underlying disease. Moving on to section 2, diagnosing before you automate, finding the root cause. Okay, to stop the finger pointing, you really need a framework. Let's walk through the 5 whys method. It's like a giant puzzle. You start with a surface symptom. Contracts stall in legal. Okay, why? Because reviewers spend an excessive amount of time searching prior documents. Well, why? Because clauses aren't centralized. Why? Because the company relies on scattered shared folders, messy email threads, and tribal knowledge. And why? Boom, we hit step 5, the true root cause. Rapid company growth had completely outpaced process design, and absolutely no one owned the end-to-end workflow. To map out that missing end-to-end workflow, Alice introduced a framework called SIPOC. This is a brilliantly effective tool used right at the start of a project. By explicitly defining the suppliers, inputs, processes, outputs, and customers, SIPOC acts as a massive system-wide reality check. It prevents that incredibly dangerous trap of optimizing just one individual department, say making the sales team 5% faster, while completely breaking the system for the legal team downstream. It forces everyone to look at the entire machine, not just their favorite little cog. Once they finally saw the whole picture, the stakeholder group got to work establishing measurable goals. They realized their current cycle time was a painful, sluggish 39 days. But through evidence-based design and data analytics, they set a strict, aggressive target to slash that down to just 18 days, more than cut in half. They finally had metrics, which meant they finally had a concrete way to measure success before they even touched a single piece of automation software. Which brings us to section 3, designing the new workflow. Structure brings clarity. You see, in the past, Proxima Tech tried to fix things informally, and, well, it was a disaster. Those informal efforts exceeded their budgets by an average of 43%. Tasks were constantly late, and there was no clear ownership. Now, compare that old informal way to the new, highly accountable Agile Scrum approach. By implementing tight sprints, daily stand-ups, and clear metrics, they brought an intense level of focus to the improvement effort. They absolutely needed this rigorous project management foundation in place before introducing any complex, unpredictable AI elements. All right, let's dive into section 4, the 4 layers of AI, bridging human workflow and machine automation. So this 4-step framework right here, this is your golden ticket for selecting the right tools. Step 1 is workflow orchestration. This is the absolute backbone of the whole operation. Tools in this layer route the work, enforce the rules, and handle approvals. It basically answers the essential question, who owns this and what happens next? If you skip this layer, I guarantee your AI efforts will become wildly fragmented and totally impossible to govern. Now, the really crucial point here is understanding the difference between the next 2 layers. First, you have AI reasoning. Think of this as interpreting a messy, complicated customer email or applying actual judgment to unstructured inputs. Then, on the flip side, there is task automation. These are the hands that actually carry out the work, executing repeatable, predictable actions like moving data between systems via an API, which, by the way, is just a digital bridge between different pieces of software. You need both of these layers, but you absolutely must know which one to use when. But honestly, regardless of the layer, integration is everything. You have got to avoid standalone solutions like the plague. If your AI outputs can trigger automatic downstream actions, like seamlessly routing orders or updating accounting records securely through those API connections we just talked about, you eliminate those messy, error-prone handoffs between departments. And hey, if a clunky legacy system doesn't have a modern API, that's exactly where interface automation comes in, essentially using software bots to literally mimic human clicks. Ultimately, proper, tight integration is what finally makes the entire process feel invisible and completely frictionless for the customer. Let's bring it all home with Section 5, your blueprint for scaling, the universal roadmap. Now, I know a lot of people hear the word governance and they immediately roll their eyes, thinking it's just red tape that's going to kill their innovation speed. But actually, the exact opposite is true. Without governance, AI tools drift from their original purpose. They create massive unintended consequences, and they will absolutely destroy your customer trust. Governance gives you clear ownership. It clearly defines who validates outputs and who monitors performance. Listen, governance isn't a barrier, it's the structural guardrail that actually allows your AI initiatives to drive incredibly fast and scale safely. If we were to summarize the masterclass steps from our source material into one place, this is the definitive checklist you need to take back to your team. Start with process analysis and root cause understanding. Never ever skip straight to the tech. Then apply that 4-layer AI model to pick the right tool for the right job. Integrate your systems securely, pilot your ideas incrementally to score those crucial early wins, wrap the whole shebang in strong governance, and commit to continuous improvement. Those feedback loops and performance data are what ensure your operational excellence never goes stale. I want to leave you with this final vital question to really reflect on before you sign off on your next big tech initiative. Are you applying AI to a well-designed process, or are you simply automating an inefficient mess? Take a really hard look at your operations, properly map your workflows, and remember, efficiency first. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how you build smarter, more excellent systems.